You ever meet someone who could change the whole room just by walking into it? Not because they're loud, not because they're trying to be the center of attention, just because their presence demands it. That was Clarence Williams III. While Hollywood was busy handing out trophies to the same familiar faces, Clarence was out there making history his own way. No chasing awards, no desperate press tours, just raw, unshakable talent and a quiet refusal to follow the rules of the industry. From the Mod Squad to Purple Rain, from twisted comedies to gut punch dramas, Clarence didn't just take roles, he owned them. And once you saw him work, you didn't forget. But here's the thing, his career wasn't born out of overnight luck. His story is full of grit, detours, and a stubborn refusal to bend to anyone else's idea of who he should be. Let's roll it back to the beginning. August 21st, 1939, Harlem, New York. His very first cry, people close to the family would later say, sounded less like a baby wail and more like a declaration, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. Clarence was born into a family where creativity wasn't just encouraged, it was the air they breathed. His father, Clarence Clay Williams Jr., was a professional musician. His grandfather, Clarence Williams, a towering figure in jazz, who played alongside legends like Bessie Smith and Louis Armstrong. That's not just family history, that's artistic royalty. But having a famous last name doesn't mean you get an easy start. After his parents split, Clarence bounced between relatives in Harlem and the Bronx. Most of the time, it was his grandmother raising him, and in those neighborhoods, survival skills came first. It wasn't the kind of childhood where you're thinking about Broadway lights or movie sets. It was about getting through the day, but fate has a way of showing up in unexpected places. One afternoon, Clarence wandered into the basement of a Harlem YMCA. He opened a door and found himself looking at a stage. The lights were down except for one glowing pool of light. Actors were in the middle of a rehearsal. The air felt different, heavy, electric. Clarence just stood there, frozen, watching. He didn't know it then, but something inside him shifted. This, whatever this was, felt like it belonged to him. Still, before the stage could pull him in, another calling came first, the military. Clarence enlisted in the U.S. Army and joined the 101st Airborne Division, one of the most intense units out there. This wasn't movie training. It was brutal, all-consuming. Parachute jumps, long marches under crushing loads, living and breathing discipline, the kind of pressure that can either break you or shape you. For Clarence, it became his foundation. That focus, that patience, that readiness to move only when the moment was right, you could see it years later in his acting. The way he'd hold a pause, the way his stillness felt loaded with meaning. After 2 years with the 506th Infantry, Clarence came home with a new sense of purpose. That stage he'd stumbled across years before, it was time to go claim it. He didn't run to Hollywood. He started where true actors earn their stripes, theater. In 1960, he made his New York debut in The Long Dream. It wasn't glamorous, but it was work that mattered. More plays followed, Double Talk in 1964, until he landed Slow Dance on The Killing Ground. That role changed everything. Clarence's performance was raw, unsettling, and deeply human. Critics noticed he earned a Tony nomination, one of the highest honors in theater, and more importantly, a reputation for depth and authenticity. Hollywood came calling. In 1968, he was cast as Link Hayes in The Mod Squad, a crime drama about 3 young undercover cops. And it wasn't just another TV show, it was groundbreaking. This was the late 60s. On-screen roles for black actors were often insulting stereotypes, the criminal, the servant, the comic relief. But Link Hayes, he was different, smart, stylish, politically aware. He didn't shout to make his point. His existence was the point. For 5 seasons, Clarence played Link with a cool, quiet intensity. Teen magazines plastered his face everywhere. Critics called his performance poetic. Howard Taubman of the New York Times wrote that he glides like a dancer, showing the nakedness of terror when he ceases to pretend. And that hair, that towering afro, wasn't just style, it was a statement. But fame didn't make Clarence reckless. After the show ended, he didn't grab every paycheck that came his way. He went back to theater, picked projects carefully, and refused to be boxed in. Then came Purple Rain in 1984. Clarence played Prince's father, a man full of violence, regret, and unspoken sorrow. a man whose music was his only safe language. It wasn't a flattering role, it wasn't a cool role, but Clarence made it real. His scenes with Prince had a rawness that felt less like acting and more like truth. And that's what Clarence did best, take roles others might pass on and turn them into something unforgettable. In Sugar Hill, 1993, he played Wesley Snipes' older brother, a man crushed by addiction. In Hoodlum, 1997, he brought Harlem gangster Bumpy Johnson to life with menace and style. In Deep Cover, Half-Baked, and Tales from the Hood, he showed just how unpredictable he could be, flipping between terrifying, hilarious, and heartbreaking. And here's the thing, Clarence didn't treat small projects like they were beneath him. Whether it was Everybody Hates Chris, The Cosby Show, or Hallmark's Mystery Woman series, he brought the same focus, the same respect for the craft. Off camera, he was the definition of private, no endless red carpets, no chasing gossip column mentions. In 1967, he married actress Gloria Foster. Yes, the same Gloria Foster who became the Oracle in The Matrix. They divorced in 1984 but stayed friends until her death in 2001. Later, he married Kelly, 37 years his junior, and reportedly had a daughter named Jaime Phillips. Money wasn't always steady. At one point, Clarence even slept on Bill Cosby's couch, but his talent always brought him back. In 1986, director John Frankenheimer cast him in 52 Pickup, and the steady work returned. But Clarence never sold out. When the industry dangled big paychecks for roles built on stereotypes, he walked away. In 1977, he put it simply, "I refuse to perpetuate harmful stereotypes or glorify violence for the sake of a paycheck." Now, he never won an Oscar or Emmy, but honestly, that didn't matter. He earned 6 award nominations, including a Tony and multiple NAACP Image Awards. More importantly, he earned the respect of his peers, the kind of respect you can't buy. And his influence didn't stop with his own career. He opened doors for actors like Forrest Whitaker, Jeffrey Wright, and Michael K. Williams, men who, like Clarence, didn't fit Hollywood's narrow mold, so they made their own. On June 4th, 2021, Clarence Williams III passed away at age 81 after battling colon cancer. His death didn't dominate every news feed, but for those who knew his work and then those who knew him, it hit hard. Tributes came from directors, co-stars, and fans who remembered not just his performances, but his dignity, his kindness, and his absolute dedication to the craft. So here's what I think we can all take from Clarence Williams III's life. In a world obsessed with being seen, being remembered matters more. Clarence never played the game, but he still changed it for good. If you've never seen his work, start with the Mod Squad, watch Purple Rain, watch Tales from the Hood. See how he could command a scene without raising his voice, because some people need the spotlight, but some are the spotlight. And that's the kind of legacy that doesn't fade. If you made it this far, here's my challenge. Go watch something Clarence Williams III was in. And don't just watch the plot, watch him. Watch the way he holds a silence, the way his eyes can tell you everything before he says a single word. That's not just acting, that's art. And in the end, that's what lasts.